What is up, peeps? Coach Kev from the Porch on an absolutely beautiful Tuesday morning here in McKeesport, PA. Fall is here officially, and the weather's starting to feel like it. It was pretty warm yesterday. I actually had to turn my air on for a while because, as you guys know, I'm a champion sweater. But I just wanted to talk to you real quick. This will be a short one this morning. Check in, see how everybody's doing. I have my first members only live chat tonight at 6 p.m. We're going to be talking about Ted Bundy. We did a poll for the members only, and they wanted to do true crime, and a couple people messaged me with a couple good ideas that I'm going to be using in upcoming members only live. So we're going to do the first and last Tuesday of every month starting today. It'll be 6 p.m. It'll be about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. And I encouraged people to come up if they want to come up, if they feel more comfortable in the members only coming up, show your face, don't, whatever you want to do, but interaction with people. And I set it, I think, as low as you could set it for like $1.99 a month. So it's nice. Hopefully what I could do is inspire some other people to maybe start doing their own thing on YouTube, their own lives, because there's some great folks with some great information and talking points and some really good debaters. And my members only is for everyone, not just for, don't get pigeonholed into Richard Allen, Delphi. We're going to talk about a lot of different things in there. I shared a video this morning of an old basketball game, end of a game, and an interview I did after when I was the head coach at McKeesport High School. And it was one of the craziest games ever. And but little things like that, the more that I could get you to know about me, the better off that I am, I think. And that's really cool, sharing stuff about ourselves. Anyways, that'll be the members only tonight. Ted Bundy, the most heinous. Why is he the most heinous, in my opinion? Him and the Night Stalker are the two worst, I think. And I'm not just going on how prodigious they were, the body count, but what they did before, after, during, how they changed, the kind of personalities they had. And Bundy was especially dangerous because he was such a good-looking guy. Charming guy, could have been successful in any field he went into. And the judge said that at the end. He's like, I really would like to have you practice law in front of me, but you want a different way, partner, was his quote. So a couple things Delphi related real quick. Defense has filed a motion to take people to the crime scene, the jury to the crime scene. Couple thoughts on that. They're pulling out all the stops. They're going to say, hey, look, we set the world record for motions in a murder trial or whatever they're doing. So at the end of the day, when I think that Richard Allen is either adjudicated guilty or pleads to the crime and admits to what he did, they're going to say, we did everything we could do for this case. I'm sure that they're liking the spotlight a little bit. There might be some bad things to that too, but I'm sure that they're liking out a little bit, and attorneys are going to attorney at the end of the day. And it's their job. So, again, with the moral compass with attorneys, no offense to attorneys, but the moral compass of attorneys are probably different than any other field, legal field. So, I don't have too much fault with them. But moral ambiguity, listen to me, that's an easy word for me to say, huh? With attorneys is just different, and I give them a lot of leeway. I've dealt with a lot of attorneys for different things, mostly labor-related stuff, but one time our attorney said, well, we're arguing over language in a contract, what does it say? And he said, what do you want it to say? Because whatever you want it to say, that's what I'm going to go argue, but that's their job. So returning to the crime scene, is it feasible for jurors? Absolutely not. If you've been to that crime scene, and I've been there in the daytime, it's very, very hard to traverse. You're holding on to trees, you're going up and down hills, you're sliding, you're going to be on your butt sliding down for a while, you're going to get dirty, you're going to get muddy. I don't see how anybody that's not really physically pretty able is going to be able to get up and down there. I don't know what they could build, stairs. I don't even know if it's conceivable to do that with the drop in that elevation and the grade. It is on private property, but I'm sure that if I'm Ron Logan's son, who yelled at a couple of us because we were trespassing, I yelled back up, hey, sorry, we're leaving. What else could I say, right? So we got out of there. We saw what we needed to see and got out of there. But anyone that's been there will fully understand in the daytime, you might not see people laying there. In the daytime. So at night, I would not even have sent any rescuers to that area at night. I really wouldn't have. Maybe if you could get along you can't even really walk along the banks of the creek. You could walk in the creek all the way down along, but you can't even walk along the banks of the creek because the elevation changes so much. and there's trees, and there's things everywhere. So I could totally understand how the girls weren't discovered till the next day. Where were they searching the next morning? Were they searching further from that area? How did they not see the clothes? That's all going to come out. And I don't think the girls will have to were ever brought back. I think that, to me, that's already been proven with the phone and a foot stepper. But, you know, we'll go on from there. But I would love to see Richard Allen and his primal reaction to that crime scene. I told you before, I thought that he went back. He lives too close not to go back. No, why do killers go back to the crime scene? Serial killers, one-off killers, whatever. They tend to go back. Not all of them. And they go back for two different reasons. One of them is a forensic countermeasure. I left something here. I want to change this. I want to do that. The other is the killer gets some kind of pleasure from it. This is what I mean by that. Sometimes they go back and they continue to mutilate bodies. They get a pleasure out of that. Killers like Ted Bundy, David Berkowitz, we know. Bundy was like kind of the first one to spill. He wanted to talk. He wanted to tell us all about him. He wanted to explain himself to the people that went and interviewed him, the BAU people, right? Bundy also wanted to help with the Green River case, and he did. But one of the big things he said about the Green River case is this guy is going to go back to his victims, to the bodies. And the police were like, what do you mean? And Ted Bundy would go back and he would, you know, not to say in a disgusting way, but he would relieve himself. He would use the bodies to relieve himself. When the bodies were too old and disintegrated, then he would just simply relieve himself next to the body, lay next to them. And sure enough, Gary Ridgway was doing the same thing. Bundy was right. David Berkowitz would go back to the scene and roll around in the grass where he shot people. He would call in over 1,000 false alarms in New York City, nuisance fires, I should say, not necessarily false alarms. And he would sexually be gratified by the action, by the sirens and the lights and the firemen and the police and the medics coming. And that's what they would get off on. What Richard Allen, I think, did is possibly a combination of the both, where he was doing a countermeasure maybe that first night. I told you, I think he went back and got his coat. I know we talked about knives before, and this is totally my theory and totally speculation. Because when Sarah Carbaugh saw him, he did have the brown hoodie on that's underneath of that blue coat, in my opinion. And I think that'll eventually come out that way. He went back and retrieved it. And I know that Weber's property is odd. And I know people that said that Weber's, they've talked to the Weber's and they've kind of discontinued that. But in my opinion, I think he could have done it without the Weber's knowledge. Brad was home. Kay was away. Brad's one of the phones, I think, to come up in the geofence thing because he's getting home from work that day. This is just my opinion on it. And he was able to somehow get that there, get it out sometime during the night. I can't find Richard Allen on any searchers list or anything like that, but I can't believe that he didn't go back to that scene. I would hope that law enforcement set up trail cameras in that scene with the hope and knowledge that killers do go back. Not always. I don't know the percentage, but they do go back and they relive their crimes, or they do forensic countermeasures. But the forensic countermeasures are only until the crime scene is discovered, right? Once the crime scene is discovered, there's no more countermeasures you can do, because police come and they process that scene. They processed the scene for hours. They took everything from it, including the bullet on February 14th. I know people were saying that isn't true. I wholeheartedly believe that they discovered that, and that's all going to be chain of custody, and you're going to see that evidence. But again, taking the jurors down there, I don't know if it's feasible. As a prosecutor, I maybe would like that, and I would love to have Richard Allen there. I'll say, I'll go, but you got to take him with me. Do whatever you got to do. Chain him, belly chain him, shock chain them, snipers, whatever you need. But I want, if I'm Nick McClelland, I want the jury to see his visceral reaction and his primal reaction that he's not going to be able to control. And they're going to see that. And whatever that reaction would be, it might be tears, it might be, you know, panting, heavy breathing. He'll try his best to keep it in, but you already have a baseline on him. We've seen him enough in court. This is what he normally acts like. He's going to act very different here. And I know people say, well, if you're an innocent person, you'd act. Yeah, maybe you would. But I think it'd be a more bewilderment or confusion look. And we'll see if they're explaining something at the scene. And Allen shakes his head or nods his head, almost acknowledging, yeah, that's what happened. So I'm very interested in that from a psychological standpoint. Why the attorneys did it, I've heard a lot of different good reasons for it. But again, I just think it's just like, we did everything we could for this guy. Look, what do you want me to do? We did everything we could. We did everything we could. And move on out. So we'll see about the trail cams. And while we talk about trail cams, a couple people I was talking to in different comments thought that the initial picture of Bridge Guy that said on the ISP site that it came from a trail cam. Well, the ISP site, if you go to it today, you'll see that it doesn't say that. It's at the Delphi Historic Trails. The picture was taken by Liberty German's phone. However, people thought early on that maybe it said something different. I can't see that. I never saw that. I don't think these people are lying. Either they're confused or it was changed. But right now, if you go to the site, it's from Libby's phones. I know some people are going back and forth. You know, the Snapchat thing, I actually asked my kids how that worked. So if you don't understand it, I encourage you to ask your kids or your grandkids. I don't have Snapchat or use it. But it's how the picture got where it got. And again, we know that the video from the bridge is 1,000% from that date and time. You know, the building over here, the school, people were saying multiple things. Guys, that's just a load of hooey, as we found out in court. And again, the defense doesn't challenge that video in court, right? So if they thought for a second that that was shot somewhere else, they'd have jumped up and challenged that, and they did not do it. Yeah. My last thing that I had a couple things written down because I keep forgetting shit every time I talk to you. I get into talking and I enjoy it so much and I forget. But getting them drawers down there would be very difficult. Getting them to the bridge, you could do that. You could get golf carts. It's wide enough. You could run them up and down the trail. You could get them to the bridge and see the bridge. You're not going to be able to get them across the bridge unless they pave that entire bridge. And they're not going to do that in 2 weeks before trial. On trial, I don't think trial is going to happen on time. I think either you're going to see another delay or finally a plead. Whatever that would be. Hey, well, death sentence is off the table, but you got to do X, Y, and Z. Will we have to allocute? A lot of times the families are involved. The DA will ask the families, do you want him to admit this in court? You know, how is this going to work? They don't always follow them, but they do a lot of times, especially in murdered children cases. They want to satisfy the families to give them just a little bit of closure because they're never going to have closure. And, you know, the families have stood strong and done what they do, and they can't talk. But they will. When this case is over, they're going to talk. And their lawyers are going to talk. And I think that's a good thing. And after this case is adjudicated, you'll see a lot of civil action. And I think you'll see a parallel investigation that was going on with people in social media and people not directly involved in the case. You'll see how that plays out. And if there's any CSAM ties to Allen, to Klein, to whoever, all the people that were arrested, that's going to come down the line because that's still under the, you know, it hasn't been statute of limitations on that. And by hiding that, what LE could be doing, and I'm theorizing, is they're still rounding up more people. They don't want to lay them CSAM charges out now because everyone knows that maybe the jig is up. Although if they have newspapers or pay any attention whatsoever, they're going to see pedos from all over the state of Indiana going down. And remember, the investigation was launched off Keegan's phone, was the largest CSAM investigation in the history of Indiana. So I think that's still ongoing. And those things are hard to find, man. But they're doing a great job with it. So that's my 2 cents on everything that's been going on. I hope to see you all at 6 tonight. If you miss it and you're a member, you could catch it later. I know other people have lives and things going on. There could be more documents that come out today. Who knows? It's Delphi. I was talking to Frank, and like he said, it's been too quiet. It's been too quiet. And yesterday, this comes out. So let me know what you think about what I said. Let me know what you think about, are you in favor of the jury going? I am. If there's a way to get them down to the crime scene, that's even better for the prosecution, in my opinion. And that explains why the girls weren't discovered that night. Because you're going to be able to see, if you go down there and you look in that bowl where they were at, even walking down there, you can't see anything. There's so many sticks on the ground. And even in February, the grass isn't as green, but there's leaves, there's sticks, there's debris everywhere. And if the girls were covered, and again, we don't know that for sure, but I theorize that's why the sticks were there, to cover them up with leaves. Leaves, as I showed you, will block the FLIR, the forward-looking infrared camera that could have been on the drone. So leaves do block that. I have an old video on that if you ever want to go check it out. I physically show you with one of our cameras that we use. We call it a TIC, a thermal imaging camera, but it uses the same FLIR technology, forward-looking infrared. And we use that just about every day. I turn it on at least every day to check the battery and like look around and stuff to make sure that the colors change and shit like that. But I'm going to leave you to it. I hope you have a great Tuesday. Great weekend of football. Fall's here. Michigan with a huge win. My Steelers are 3-0, and they're coming to Indianapolis. So all you Hoosiers out there that are following this case that, you know, are subscribers or people to come and chat with Coach Kev, you might not like me this weekend if you're a Colts fan, because we're 3-0 and you guys are 1-2, and it's going to be a pretty good game, I think. And I think we're going to cause the rookie Richardson to maybe turn it over a couple times and then give it to the great Justin Fields, who's been playing pretty good. I got to give it to him. So I'm going to leave you to it. I wanted to talk for 5 minutes, and I'm at 15. I'm sorry, but I got the gift of gab. The gift and the curse of gab, that is. But I'm going to leave you to it. I hope I see you tonight. Follow your favorite creator. Like, share, subscribe this video. If you think it's good, leave me a comment. Anything. You think I got something right, think I got something wrong, you want to chop it up, anything you got. And that we'll leave it at that. I got a phone call coming in. Scam likely. Jesus Christ. I get 10 of those a day now. Political bullshit, right? All right. I'm going to leave it to you. We're going to say tentacles. And the tentacles are going to be coming out soon. With my dog mug. You guys are fantastic. Keep up the good work that everyone's been doing. Kevlar148gmail.com if you got anything for Flora. Always listening. Always talking to people about that. Talking to someone about it today. I'll leave you to it. Coach Kev out.